Everyone, here's another video about exponents. So let's take a look. Basically, exponents are what we use to show repeated multiplication, because it's not always too easy to multiply a bunch of numbers together. Okay, so exponents allow us to do repeated multiplication. So for example, instead of writing 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 5 times, for example, we just write the 3 once and then show the number of times you're going to multiply 3 by itself as an exponent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 to the 5th power. This is not the same thing as 3 times 5. Okay, 3 times 5 is 15. 3 to the 5th power is a much larger number. So exponents basically show us how many times to multiply a number by itself as many times as we need. So for example, 12 to the 12th power, okay, means we're going to multiply 12 by itself 12 times, which is a huge number. It is not the same thing as 12 times 12, which is 144. So make sure that you don't misunderstand that, okay? One of the things that we need to understand is negative exponents. Negative exponents, just like positive exponents show us repeated multiplications, negative exponents show us repeated division, which we show as a fraction. So for example, 2 to the 3rd power is really 2 times 2 times 2. That means 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. Now 2 times 3. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, but if we compare that to the negative 3, okay, that's not the same thing, because if a positive exponent is repeated to the multiplication, then negative 3 cannot be the same thing. Negative exponents represent division, repeated division, and we show repeated division by fractions, because fractions are the divisions. So what we do is, to make sure that we can deal with a negative exponent, we basically pretend that there is a denominator of 1, and then we're going to flip this over, and we're going to bring that to the bottom because we're flipping over. And once we do that, that becomes positive, and now we have that fraction which shows us a repeated division. Okay, so the 1 stays over there, but then 2 to the 3rd power is 8, so we have 1/8. You see the difference. 8 versus 1/8 is very different. For example, think of this as 8 whole pizzas, but this is 1 out of 8 pizzas, or 1 slice out of 8 slices, much smaller, okay? So that's how we deal with negative exponents and versus positive exponents. So the main thing for you to remember is that exponents basically show repeated multiplication in their positive form. Even their negative form, they technically kind of do, because 2 to the 3rd power at the bottom still is 8. But the negative shows that we have to flip it over and make it into a fraction to show that that's repeated division. So hope this helps. Just make sure that you don't confuse multiplying number by itself as the same thing as multiplying that number by that exponent. One last thing, this whole thing has a name. It's called a power. This is our base. The number at the bottom is base, and the number at top is the exponent. Okay. And so basically, all you need to remember is that, and we write this a little bit smaller on top, that an exponent means that we're going to take that base and multiply by itself as many times as the exponent, not by the exponent, but as many times as the exponent. So for example, 4 to the 3rd power means we're going to multiply 4 by itself 4 times, not by 3 times, not by 3. But all this does is helps us understand how many times to take the base and multiply by itself. Otherwise, it doesn't get used in calculations at all. So 4 to the 3rd power is 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64, which is a very different number than if you had made a mistake and multiplied it by 3, which would have been 12, which would have been wrong, okay? So hopefully you remember this and use it carefully in your calculations, especially those that involve order of operations, for which I made another video.